creative minds, and gamers. Today we're diving into the world of games that not only entertain but also inspire creativity. Whether you are a seasoned gamer or just looking for a new way to spark your imagination, I've got you covered. Let's explore some fantastic games that stimulate your creativity in unique ways. Instead of just listing a bunch of games that might not be available in your region, I thought it would be better if I share with you game categories with some examples so that you understand what to look for when buying a game to inspire creativity. Make sure to check out the links in the description. Make sure to stick to the end of the video for the bonus content. It is totally unrelated to creativity. It's just a really cool way to shuffle your cards that might impress, or dare I say, intimidate your opponent. Let's jump into the video. First up, we have drawing games. These are perfect for unleashing your artistic side. Games like Pictionary or like these ones, Guess a Sketch, any kind that forces you to draw, it challenges players to translate words into drawings, creating hilarious and sometimes unpredictable results. My favorite part is watching the interpretation process of others in real time and how they sort of dissect a word or a concept into a drawing. It can be so far from your own way of looking at a word, which in turn expands your own creativity. What you'll learn. In these types of games, it's all about interpreting and expressing an idea through doodles. Drawing games not only improve your artistic skills, because you're drawing, but also encourage quick thinking and communication. This will strengthen your ability to convey thoughts and emotions from your imagination. For example, in these games, usually you have a limited time, so you need to choose the most iconic characteristics of the word that you have to doodle. Think about a drawing of a cat versus a dog. The face will be mostly the same, but for a cat, you will choose pointy ears. However, for a dog, you might have droopy ears and possibly a tongue hanging out. Notice the difference? This is a huge part of communicating concepts through drawing. Now let's talk about guessing games with words. Taboo or the 5-second rule, they're some of my absolute favorites. They're all about creative thinking and word association within a time limit. For Taboo, players are given a word that they have to then describe without using the words that are taboo, that are not allowed. Let me give you an example and let me know in the comments how you would describe it. For example, the word Wednesday. You're not allowed, however, to describe that with the words day, calendar, or date. How would you describe that? Tell me in the comments. I personally would immediately go to Wednesday Addams and say something like the daughter of the Addams family, or, dark character played by Jenna Ortega. It forces you to completely think outside the box. Growing up, I played Taboo to death when I was living in Germany. Germans love their board games and game nights and things like that. I think not being a German native speaker back then was a huge advantage. German has a lot of compound words, which means words are mashed together and turn into a new meaning. I saw them as clearly two separate words, but my German friends saw the entire word, the entire new meaning. I believe this gave me more creative ways to express a word because I had multiple words in my mind. For example, the word Handschuh means glove in German. My friends thought about a glove, but for me it was the hand plus the shoe. So I could draw a hand and a shoe and put them together. But my friends would focus on the word glove. So you see slight differences? Games like 5-second rule, you're given a prompt like name 3 breeds of dogs. This sounds easy. When you only have 5 seconds to do so, you panic. Let's test it out right now. I'm gonna give you one prompt. Test yourself if in 5 seconds you can get it. Alright, this is the timer. Let's make sure we're ready. Name 3 Christmas decorations. Time is up. Did you get it? Let me know in the comments. These kinds of games, they force you to dig into parts of your memory that you haven't accessed in a while, plus, of course, the time limitation. And this stimulates the recalling process of your brain, which in turn sparks your imagination. What you'll learn. You'll be forced to use your memory and use your association skills. Your ability to remember is closely linked to your ability to imagine and think divergently. Thinking divergently means to solve problems creatively and fast. In other words, these games spark creativity, forcing you to think outside the box and process information in a more unique way. Moving on to guessing games, this time with acting. Charades is a timeless favorite. Usually players have to act out words, movies, phrases, etc. without speaking. These games force you to express a concept, but you also have to do this with your body language. It is similar from the process with guessing games with words, but with the additional factor of acting. This challenges players to use their social skills, body posture, being in front of an audience, using their gestures and expressions. What you'll learn, in addition to sparking creativity, these kinds of games also help you build your confidence and your social skills. As creative minds, we often struggle with self-doubt, so these are fundamental skills not only as a creator, but in all aspects of your life. Now let's turn our attention to detective games. Usually these detective games are an immersive experience where players become detectives, solving cases, piecing together clues, and solving puzzles. It's not just about logic, it's also about thinking creatively to crack the case and attention to detail. What I find particularly fun about some of these games is that they try to mimic real life, so that, for example, there's a game where you get like a case as a detective, you get the same sort of information that a detective would get. You have random phone numbers that you can ring up, and you actually ring up, and then you get some sort of clue. What you'll learn. These games force you to pay a lot of attention to detail and connect the dots between pieces of information to come to a conclusion. These are fantastic for problem solving and also building your observation skills, which I believe to be one of the most important skills to have as a creator. You might have seen my creative designs video where I use everyday objects to design a character. This is only possible because I'm constantly paying attention to my surroundings until I see something that sparks my interest. You can usually discover unusual or interesting shapes, colors, textures, etc. around you, which can feed your imagination. The next category is cooperative story-based games. For example, like this one, adventure games. These create an interactive and dynamic space where players contribute to the narrative, so to the story, solving problems and exploring imaginative worlds. Unexpected twists and turns can occur, inspiring players to adapt and contribute to evolving stories in creative ways. The exploration part of these games can stimulate curiosity and your imagination. What makes these games special is the collaborative aspect. Your communication and teamwork skills will be crucial to succeeding in the game. You cannot win alone. Another game that is meant to be played online by two people is TikTok: A Tale for Two, and similar games. It is about solving what happened in a small town, but what's tricky about it is that each person is seeing something different on their screens, meaning they're seeing different clues. By themselves, each of those clues are not enough to solve the puzzle. So you have to really be attentive. You cannot make any assumptions, and you have to communicate very clearly so that you can solve the puzzle together. I played this with my brother not too long ago, and it was so much fun, so I highly recommend that one. The big disadvantage of these kinds of games, however, is that you can usually only play them once or a limited amount of times, because once the story is unfolded, you already know the answers. What you'll learn from a creative perspective, these kinds of games help you boost your curiosity, storytelling abilities, and become better at teamwork, which is a fundamental skill to have if you ever want to do a project with another creator. And similar to previous games we've discussed, these games also encourage divergent thinking and problem solving and improve your confidence, as usually you're a character in these games. Now for the bonus, let's go to the casino. Welcome to Casino Tanya. Are you ready to play? Let's get into it. This is the trick that we're going to learn. This is a shuffling trick that you can use to show your card skills. I learned this when I was a child from an uncle of mine, and I always loved it. So, this is how it goes. First, you grab your cards. This is a regular 52 card set, essentially the full deck from 2 to A's. This works best when the cards are not too old. They need to have a bit of flexibility, so when they're newer, they're not as bended. You want to then split it in half, as best as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. We just want to shuffle it and hold it between your middle finger and your thumb, each half on each hand, like this. You want to hold them with the, wrong side in towards your hands, and the faces, is that how you call it, towards the table. Once you have them separated, I like to make them nice and neat by clicking them against the table. Sorry, it's a bit loud, is it? And do this so that they're nice and flush. What you want to do next is apply pressure between your thumb and your middle finger. What we want to do is get the cards to bend this way, so like inwards. Sometimes cards don't want to do that. Like if you see here, I'm putting pressure, but it's not actually bending, so you need to put a bit use your index finger and put a little bit of pressure so that the cards know where to fold, where to kind of bend. Okay, like this. So let's do that. And we kind of want to now place them over the table. And we want to make sure that they overlap a little bit, about a centimeter over each other, so that they can feed into each other as we're shuffling them. You don't want them to be too far apart, neither too close together. Then you want to think about, imagine you have an animation flip book, and you want each page to be flipped. This is the movement I want you to do, but with both cards and simultaneously. And once you have this, that's them already shuffled, you want to hold the part with your thumbs, the top part here where they have intersected, and at the same time with the remainder of your fingers, hold both card sets together. So you can lift them. You keep putting pressure here with the thumbs as you're bending them, this time outwards. See this? Like this. And then my fingers underneath are currently gripping the cards really firmly, so I want you to have this position. The cards shouldn't be able to move. We're going to let that go slightly as we're putting pressure, and so then the cards fiddle in. Let me show you again. And the more you practice, the better it goes. Honestly, it's not just, doesn't look just cool, it's also fun to do. So now, not only will you improve your creativity, but you will also have a little party trick to show your friends. And there you have it. Games are more than just entertainment. They're a gateway to creativity, imagination, and laughter. Whether you are drawing, describing, pantomiming, playing detective, or collaborating, these games can bring people together and can inspire us to think outside the box. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Tenebrosa Designs for more creativity-related content. Let me know in the comments if you got the 5-second rule question correct and what games inspire your creativity. Until next time, keep playing and be creative. Peace out.